It started as a joke. We should do an escape room. Alex said with his trademark enthusiasm, waving the flyer he'd found tacked to the community bulletin board. I glanced at it, the bold letters reading "The room you cannot escape." The name was cheesy, sure, but the artwork, a shadowy, blood-smeared door, was striking enough to pique my interest. "Count me in," I said, shrugging. Our group of friends, 6 of us in total, was always up for something weird. We loved the thrill of problem-solving under pressure, and honestly, I thought I was pretty good at these things. If anyone could solve the unsolvable, it was me. We booked the experience for that Friday night. The place wasn't what I expected. It was tucked away in an old industrial building at the edge of town. No flashy sign, just a plain black door with the words "Escape" stenciled in peeling white paint. When we stepped inside, the air was stale, carrying the faint scent of mildew. The man at the front desk greeted us with an unsettling grin. His teeth were yellowed and slightly crooked, his eyes never quite meeting ours. "You're here for the room?" he asked, his voice raspy. He didn't wait for an answer. "Follow me." We exchanged nervous glances but followed him down a dimly lit hallway. He stopped at a heavy metal door and pulled out a ring of old, clinking keys. When the door creaked open, it revealed a room that looked like a set from a horror movie, flickering light bulbs, blood-red walls, and strange symbols etched into the floor. A single speaker mounted in the corner crackled to life. "Good luck," the man said, stepping back. Before any of us could ask a question, he slammed the door shut, and the metallic click of a lock echoed ominously. "All right," Alex said, trying to sound upbeat. "Let's do this." We began searching the room for clues. At first, it was just like any other escape room: riddles, hidden compartments, cryptic messages scrawled on the walls. But then things started to feel wrong. The first sign was the smell. A metallic tang that grew stronger the more we moved around. Then, Ashley screamed. She'd found a severed mannequin hand beneath a pile of old rags. At least, we thought it was a mannequin hand until we saw the dried blood crusting the edges. "This isn't part of the game," I said, my voice trembling. Alex nodded, his face pale. We tried the door, but it wouldn't budge. Even the keypads and locks, normally props in these games, seemed welded shut. The speaker crackled again, and the man's voice oozed through like oil. "Congratulations," he said, his tone dripping with mockery. "You found the first clue. But don't get too comfortable. The room doesn't let anyone leave until it's satisfied." "What does that mean?" Ashley shouted, pounding on the walls. The voice only laughed. The clues became more twisted as time passed. A puzzle involving rusty knives. A cipher hidden in a pile of what looked disturbingly like human teeth. The worst was the countdown timer painted on the wall in glowing red numbers. We had no idea what would happen when it hit 0, but none of us wanted to find out. Hours passed, though it felt like days. Panic set in, and tensions flared. Alex accused me of not taking it seriously enough, and I snapped back, saying his dumb idea had gotten us into this mess. Meanwhile, Ashley cried quietly in the corner, rocking back and forth. And then the clock hit 0. The lights went out, plunging us into darkness. The sound of grinding metal filled the room, followed by a blood-curdling scream. When the lights flickered back on, Alex was gone. In his place was a pool of blood and a single note, one down. "Solve faster." We tore through the remaining puzzles, desperation lending us speed. But every time we solved one, the stakes grew higher. The walls began to close in, the temperature dropped, and that awful voice mocked us at every turn. By the time we reached the final puzzle, only Ashley and I were left. The others had been taken, their fates unknown. My hands trembled as I pieced together the final clue, a cryptic riddle involving a strange chant. The answer came to me in a flash, and I shouted it out. The door creaked open. We didn't hesitate. We ran, stumbling through the dark hallway until we burst into the cold night air. But when I turned to look at Ashley, she was staring back at the building, her eyes wide with terror. "What is it?" I asked, my voice raw. She pointed. The door we just escaped from now bore a new sign. "Congratulations. You've unlocked level 2. Before I could react, the ground beneath us opened, and we fell into darkness. And that's when I realized, the room, you can't escape. My brother, Eric, had been worried from the start. I'd casually mentioned our plans to him earlier in the week, and something about the name had made his face tighten with concern. When we didn't come back that night, Eric's worry turned into action. He called the police, explaining everything he knew about the room you cannot escape and how we had gone there hours ago and never returned. It didn't take long for a patrol car to pull up outside the nondescript industrial building. The officers found the front door locked, but a faint sound, almost like muffled screams, emanated from within. They broke the door down. What they discovered inside was beyond anything they'd expected. Eric told me later what the police found: a series of interconnected rooms filled with torture devices disguised as escape room props. Bloodstains covered the walls and floors, some fresh, some long dried. In a locked basement, they discovered me, Ashley, and the others who hadn't been so lucky. Alex's body was there too, lifeless and mangled, discarded like a broken toy. The man who ran the place was arrested on the spot. His name was Samuel Grant, though he was better known in the underworld as the Gamekeeper. He had a long history of violence, including disappearances linked to other escape rooms he'd operated in different cities. He admitted to designing the rooms not for entertainment but for his own sick pleasure, watching as his victims turned on one another in desperation. The authorities shut the place down, but the nightmares didn't end for us. Every time I close my eyes, I see that blood-red countdown, hear that mocking voice, and feel the weight of Alex's absence. The room may be gone, but its scars remain, a constant reminder that some games should never be played.
Like, subscribe and don't forget to hit the bell icon to never miss a scare.